Hello and welcome to Granada Reports. It is the start of another fast-moving week in politics.
Good evening, it certainly is. Here's what's lined up tonight.
Rishi Sunak is therefore elected as leader of the Conservative Party.
History being made as we get our first Prime Minister of colour. But will Rishi Sunak be a PM for the North?
I'm hoping that the Prime Minister gets up and he starts helping the people who need it the most, not the Tarquins and the Petersons of the world, the Kellys of the world.
And Mr Sunak is also our first Hindu Prime Minister, so special Diwali celebrations tonight in the Northwest.
A eureka moment for these youngsters, getting the first look at the visitor attraction they helped design.
And in the weather, after a dramatic-looking start this morning, it turns into quite a decent week. All the details coming up.
Well, as we come on air, Rishi Sunak is the new Prime Minister in waiting and will be confirmed in the top job when he sees the King possibly tomorrow. He will be the third PM in just 3 months after both Boris Johnson and Liz Truss were forced to resign.
So what does his appointment mean for us in the middle of the cost of living crisis? And does he have the backing of our region's MPs? He's the country's first Prime Minister from a minority ethnic background and the first Hindu at number 10.
We'll be live in Westminster and we'll be getting reaction from Huyton in Merseyside and Congleton in Cheshire. But first, here's our political correspondent, Leisha McNally.
The lunchtime crowd at this pub in Congleton were keeping one eye on the wall, where the second leadership race of the year played out on their screens. And this Greater Manchester MP confirmed that the man who lost the marathon won the sprint.
Rishi Sunak is therefore elected as leader of the Conservative Party.
The only one standing by 2 p.m, Rishi Sunak steps into the top job unopposed, with no rounds of votes from either MPs or party members. And around this bar, reactions were mixed.
He's got in without any competition at all, and the others shouldn't have stood down. They should have stood and seen what happened.
I wish they'd left Boris before. Rishi Sunak, I would think, would be the next best person. But to be honest, they've just let themselves down. Really let themselves down. That's how I feel. I mean, I've worked hard all my life, and no matter who's been in government, they've never done really nothing for me.
He's the best out of a bad bunch. He's a safe pair of hands, I think. I'm not a Tory supporter, but I think he's got a mandate to follow up on what he started.
Well, time will tell, but I do think that we need an election now just to get the country sort of going again where it needs to get to. And whether this is the answer, that's the way we'd find out.
Conservative MPs, though, are adopting a glass-half-full approach. The member for Bury North backed Rishi Sunak from the start and says he's the man to turn things around.
It's a great day, but it's a great day because people are going to be helped and people are going to have the best possible political and financial leadership, which is what we need to give to people. We need to deliver families in Bury and throughout the Northwest. We need to make sure, tackle high interest rates on mortgages, make sure people can pay their bills, make sure we've got affordable energy, make sure we tackle inflation.
It's quite an in-tray for the incoming Prime Minister, who's acknowledged the scale of the challenge ahead.
And I will make it my utmost priority to bring our party and our country together, because that is the only way we will overcome the challenges we face and build a better, more prosperous future.
So where does that leave levelling up? A somewhat frequent visitor to the Northwest, Rishi Sunak was keen to stress his northern credentials during the summer leadership campaign.
I am the most northern Chancellor that we've had in 70 years.
But the MP for Blackpool North says his party's future depends on delivery.
I'm allowing myself half an hour of pleasure because I was a very enthusiastic Rishi Sunak supporter, but when that half hour is up, I think we have some very serious government to get down to, some really difficult economic problems to face, and I'm more concerned about what my constituents think right now.
Can he win the next general election?
Never write the Conservative Party off. We are the oldest, greatest political party for a reason, and we'll always believe we can win.
That's not quite a yes, it's a difficult time.
Oh, yes, 1,000 times yes. I still believe.
That belief was evident at Party HQ as they gathered to greet their new leader. But with the cost of living crisis looming large over Westminster, MPs know the celebrations will have to be short-lived. Rishi Sunak will soon stand on the doorsteps of Downing Street, and then the real work begins.
And what a job it is. And Leisha joins us now from Westminster. Plenty of congratulations going to Mr Sunak today, Leisha, but probably as many calls for him to give voters a say in a general election.
That's right, Elaine, and even some of the Conservative voters we've spoken to today told us they didn't think it was right that neither party members nor the public had a say in this race. Though, of course, the loudest calls for that general election have come from the opposition. Here's the Deputy Leader of the Labour Party and MP for Ashton-under-Lyne, Angela Rayner.
There is no mandate now. The Conservatives have completely broken their promises, broke our economy, and now they want to see a general election. They can't just keep doling out prime ministers every month because they're in total chaos and they've lost control of the market and haven't got any ideas of how they're going to tackle the cost of living that people are facing.
Now, of course, it's not in the opposition's gift to call for a general election. That can really only come from the Conservatives. And the message from here tonight is don't hold your breath on that. Now, of course, it can be a bit more of a challenge when leaders come in through a leadership election like we've just seen, instead of getting that mandate directly from the public. The tale of the last few years will tell you that. I mean, both Boris Johnson and Theresa May ended up calling a snap election to try to get that boost of confidence from the public, admittedly with very different results. But Rishi Sunak is playing the long game. He addressed his MPs in Parliament privately today, and I'm told he confirmed that there would be no early general election. In fact, the message he presented was very clear. He told his MPs they have to be a team, getting on with those challenges, levelling up and delivering for people in the north and elsewhere. Get it wrong, and he said the party has to unite or it'll die.
Leisha, at a very busy Westminster for now. Thank you.
Well, to get more reaction to the new Prime Minister, we spent the day in the town of Huyton near Liverpool. It's in Knowsley, one of the most deprived areas of the country, which had hoped to benefit from the government's levelling up agenda.
Our correspondent Victoria Grimes is in the town centre now. Vicky, is there cause for optimism there with the former Chancellor now in the top job?
Well, Elaine, you were here in February when we were talking to people about those levelling up funding announcements, and the sense then was they felt very much like this is a forgotten borough, and that's despite the fact that they were identified as an area for investment by the government. Knowsley received absolutely nothing in the four main regeneration and levelling up funds. Now, the local authority here is one of the 8 most poor in England, yet they received the least. And the message very much from people here today is that they still feel like they've been left behind.
Get someone that's been through a rough time and put them there, and they know what it's like and they know how we feel then.
Hoping that the Prime Minister gets up and he starts helping the people who need it the most, not the Tarquins and the predators of the world, the Kellys of the world and the Laylas of the world, and the people who live in the most socially deprived areas in the country.
I think it's an absolute farce. Who's put him in? No one's elected him. It's not representing the people from around here, so yeah, another farce. It's a circus.
We're going through individual ones and we're trying to find the best one. Hopefully he'll do us good.
Well, there seems to be a bit more optimism from local businesses. Earlier I was speaking to Telego. He's got 3 restaurants here in Huyton Town Centre, and he's hoping that Rishi Sunak, with his past experience as Chancellor, will be the right man for the job. He said that Eat Out to Help Out was a real help for him in bringing the customers back.
We didn't see enough guests in our restaurants and then on the street, but when that project started, it's everywhere buzzing, and we realized again the future is bright. From September, October, it's been a very quiet period for us, and it's worrying period. Yes, hope maybe today this is the last day for worrying, then start positive again.
Well, only time will tell, of course, but one thing is clear, and that is that Rishi Sunak has got a lot of work to do if he wants to convince people here that levelling up means just that in Knowsley. Back to you.
Yeah, he certainly has. OK, Victoria, thank you.
Now, the town of Congleton in Cheshire has long been a Conservative stronghold. It's been a turbulent few months for the country and the Tory party after it was forced to rip up its mini-budget.
So will Rishi Sunak be a unifying force and bring some economic stability. Our reporter Tasha Kachiri has been gauging reaction. And Tash, is there relief? It's Rishi there.
Well, actually, it's been very mixed here in Congleton. Many people aren't convinced that Rishi Sunak can unite the Conservative Party. Some just don't like him at all. And others are really happy that he's in charge and want him to get on with the job of sorting out the country.
It's a complete fiasco up to press. I think the people will learn to trust him if he plays the game straight. There's too much backbiting, infighting in the Tory party.
We've got to do something to stop people losing their homes with mortgage rates and rent problems. I don't want people being evicted and on the streets.
I hope Sunak gets things going and gets us out of this mess. But I do think they should do more for pensioners that have to sell the home and pay for the care.
At a time like this when we've got high inflation, you know, energy prices off the scale and fuel prices and so on, I don't think now is the time for austerity.
Now, the last few months have done some damage to the reputation of the Tories in this stronghold. For nearly 40 years, Congleton has only had 2 MPs, and those MPs have always been Conservative. Now, it looks like the feeling is that that is about to change with a new general election. Many people I've spoken to have said to me that they just won't be voting Conservative again. So Rishi Sunak has a big job on his hands trying to win those votes back.
OK, Tasha in Congleton, thank you very much indeed.
And we'll be reading out some of your reaction to the next Prime Minister a little bit later on in the programme. OK, to some other news now. And an investigation's underway into alleged racist and homophobic abuse during Blackpool's clash with Preston North End. Lancashire Police say they're taking the reports of abuse at Bloomfield Road on Saturday very seriously and are working with both clubs to find those responsible. Blackpool FC says it finds all forms of discriminatory behaviour totally abhorrent.
Tributes have been paid to Wirral businessman Drew Cockton, who's died suddenly at the age of 36. Drew appeared on the TV show Dragon's Den with the backing for his luxury-scented candle business. His sister said he'd passed away peacefully at his home on Saturday. That was just 24 hours after hosting the LGBTQ+ Business Awards, which he founded.
Almost 2,000 ambulance workers in the northwest are being balloted on strike action. The GMB union says they're angry over the government's 4% pay award. The government says it values the hard work of all NHS staff.
OK, you might have heard all the fireworks in the last few days, and next it's known as the Festival of Light, and it's one of the most significant events in the Hindu, Jain and Sikh calendars.
Yeah, it certainly is. We are talking about the Festival of Diwali, and our new Prime Minister is the first Hindu to take over at number 10.
Tonight marks the main event in this year's celebrations, and our reporter Emma Sweeney has joined a group of family and friends in Trafford for us this evening.
Well, there's lots of excitement down here. This evening, Diwali, as you say, is celebrated by Jain, Sikhs and Hindus. And for each of those religious groups, it carries a different meaning. Tonight, we've come to a Hindu household. In fact, there are 3 Hindu families here this evening. And Thrishna, you're going to tell us what it's all about.
So, Diwali is the Festival of Light, and it's a 5-day festival. It's about celebrating light over darkness and good over evil. The story behind it is that Sita and Ram, the prince and princess who were exiled for 14 years, they defeated Ravana, the evil demon king, and when they returned home, people lit lamps to guide them.
And as well as the lamps, we also here we have Lakshmi behind you, goddess. Tell us why you pray to Lakshmi during Diwali.
Lakshmi is the goddess of wealth and fortune. We pray to her to thank her and honour her for the lives we have today, and in return she showers us with wealth and prosperity.
So thank you very much for talking to us. Well, no Hindu festival is complete without lots and lots of sweets. And I'm going to talk now to mums Megla and Sonia. Ladies, thank you for talking to us. Megla, first of all, tell us what we have in front of us, and I don't hope you don't mind, but I'm going to try one at the same time.
Of course, yes. We have lots of sweets, and that's how we celebrate Diwali. Food is an important part of Indian culture. And we have my mother-in-law, Mrs. Ratnam, who has helped me a lot to make all these sweets with her traditional recipe here, which we love.
How long does it take you to make all of this?
3 days.
3 days. Lots and lots of work gone into that. Sonia, you make sweets as well. Tell me where you get these recipes from.
I have learned it from my mother and my grandmother. They have taught me.
Yeah, lovely stuff, ladies. Thank you so much for talking to us. I'll definitely be back for some more. But in the meantime, follow me outside, because this is a festival, as we say, all about the contrast of light and darkness. And outside we've got some sparklers, as you see, on the go here. And RD is going to come and speak to us because you're very excited about something later on. What are you excited about?
Fireworks.
Fireworks. Is that your favourite thing about Diwali?
No, I have more things. I like the gifts and the sweets and the food.
You like just about everything about Diwali. Lovely stuff. I'm going to bring in your dad, Asim. Asim, you know, today we've got our first PM of colour, but also our first Hindu Prime Minister. He'll be celebrating Diwali tonight.
Yeah, absolutely.
What do you? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm really proud that a British Hindu has been given an opportunity to become Prime Minister, and it's like a double, Diwali present for him.
Thank you very much for talking to us. Well, the festivities here will last all evening, and the best part is it is half term, so nobody has to get up early, and plus there are lots of sweets, of course, to get through. I'm going to go back inside and get some.
Well, with more than a third of the Championship season gone, we're on course to see a Lancashire club return to the Premier League. Blackburn moved level on points with leaders QPR thanks to a 2-1 win over Birmingham. Adam Wharton celebrating his first Rovers goal in style. I can't do that. Burnley could go top if they avoid defeat tomorrow after they won 4-2 at Sunderland. But Preston have lost ground on the playoff places after losing a dramatic Lancashire derby 4-2 at Blackpool. Wigan were beaten too, but Morecambe are off the bottom of League One after beating Barnsley 1-0. Fleetwood Town lost, but Bolton are in the playoff spots after coming from 2 goals down to win 3-2 at Accrington. There was another derby in League Two where Stockport beat Greater Manchester rivals Salford 2-0. Tranmere Rovers were held to a 1-1 draw by Harrogate, so missed out on the chance to climb into the playoff spots. Barrow also had to settle for a point and a 1-1 draw at Gillingham. Elsewhere, Rochdale lost, but Crewe managed a 1-1 draw with Doncaster Rovers.
Getting that winning feeling. FOW, sponsors of the Granada Sport Report.
In rugby union, Sale Sharks have suffered their first defeat of the season. They lost by 29 points to 13 against Harlequins at the AJ Bell Stadium. So they stay second in the Premiership table, but they've got the perfect chance to get back on track as they take on leaders Saracens this weekend.
OK, here's Mary outside number 10 with what's coming up on the ITV News in a few minutes' time.
Coming up in the programme, Conservative MPs elect their new leader. Rishi Sunak will be our next Prime Minister, the first British Asian to reside at number 10. His challenger, Penny Mordaunt, withdrew from the Tory leadership race minutes from the deadline after struggling to get enough support. How have the markets reacted and what do voters make of Mr Sunak? We'll be live from Westminster and across the country. Will you join me for those stories and more at 6:30?
Well, all day you've been sending us your reaction to Rishi Sunak becoming the next Prime Minister.
Yeah, lots and lots of messages. Ruth Hindle said these politicians have no concept of the lives of ordinary working people. Whatever we say, they won't listen.
Craig says call a general election and let the public have their say. That is one of many messages like that we got throughout the course of today.
We had lots and lots of messages like that. And Cisse tweeted, this is a great victory for diversity in Britain. A positive one here saying congratulations to Rishi Sunak.
Yeah, and in reference to Rishi Sunak's personal fortune, Janet Porter writes, you never know, he might just use some of his money to get the country out of debt.
He is the country's richest Prime Minister, isn't he? The richest MP to be Prime Minister. Yeah. So let's see what's going to happen next. OK, how many times have you been to a visitor attraction and left, well, a bit underwhelmed?
Yeah, quite a few in my experience. Well, the latest £11 million Science and Discovery Centre in Wirral asked some of its young visitors for their ideas of what they wanted to see.
Yes, and just weeks before it opens, they put the first visitor experience to the test, as our Merseyside correspondent Andy Bonner reports.
You're getting a sneak peek. Nobody has seen this yet, so you're the first people to come through the doors and have a look.
This moment has been a long time coming. It's been 4 years now since these students started looking at what they'd like to see inside this building.
All the bacteria and viruses that might enter your system.
Eureka Science and Discovery aims to bring subjects like science, maths and engineering to life. And this group's ideas have played an important role in how it's going to be delivered.
It was a bit surreal almost to walk in and think this is what I've been a part of and this is what's come of it. I've worked on this since I was in Year 7, so that's about 3 or 4 years now, and it's been a really good project because it's allowed me to have my own print on the Eureka Museum.
I walked in and it was just amazing because you could see stuff that we'd said we would like to see, and it was, you know, just wow, it's actually here. And it was really just wow, I've helped this beautiful thing blossom.
We can't believe how lucky we are to get this opportunity. Our students, I don't think they fully appreciate the legacy they're going to leave behind. They've learned a lot, and I'm really proud of them, how they've developed as people and their commitment to the project.
In fact, the centre's been helped by a number of groups of children and teenagers who've all had their say about the experience.
So those of you that were involved in the workshops on the beach, where you looked at wind power, this is the gallery that has come from that work.
With one eye on climate change, the hope is that young visitors will be inspired into making decisions about their own futures too.
To engage them at a young age means that they have more sight of those possibilities, especially here on the Wirral, where there is an awful lot of industry based locally that is looking for young people to end up working in those industries. I mean, this is an area where there is entrenched unemployment and lots of disadvantage in this area, and we want to bring opportunities to those children and those families.
The centre's been created next to Seacombe's Mersey Ferry Terminal. Bosses hope the transport links will encourage young people to visit from across the region.
There are now just 3 weeks to go until the first young people get to experience all of this. People here are just keeping their fingers crossed that they will enjoy it and also be inspired into new careers which could change their lives and the world around us. Andy Bonner, ITV News, Seacombe.
Good to see some young people getting enthused over science and maths, bringing maths to life.
Yeah, absolutely. Great idea, fabulous project. I wish I had something like that when I was at school, many moons ago. OK, looks like quite a mild week weather-wise. Here is Emma with all the details.
Why do I need a shower? I've been out in the rain.
The faster you go, the sooner you'll be out. You'll save water too.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada Weather.
Hello there. Well, this week's weather is a bit of a rinse and repeat of last week's, although it will be drier than it was over the weekend and in the 24 hours just up to this morning. Some parts of the region saw 15 millimetres of rain. But actually, if you're on half term this week, very fine weather in store if you happen to catch one of those sunnier spots and stay away from the showers. It'll feel warm in any sunshine with exceptionally mild temperatures by day and by night for the time of year. And it's all down to the jet stream. Well, of course it is. The jet swoops quite far southwards down towards the Azores and then moves northwards across the western side of the UK, dragging up warmer air from northern France and Iberia, and that's why temperatures are creeping up day by day and night by night during the course of this week. Over this evening, well, there is a focus of showers, but things do tend to dry up during the second part of the night. Could be 1 or 2 heavier showers this evening, but later on, a lot drier, no mist and fog to speak of, light winds and maybe just a little bit of hill fog in places. Sun's up tomorrow at 7:56, talking of which there is a partial solar eclipse tomorrow. You should never look directly at an eclipse, so just showing you here what it should look like if you've got the proper equipment like eclipse glasses or a pinhole projector. 10:56 is the time it's viewable from Manchester there, but please don't forget, do not view it directly. So then into tomorrow, it's going to be the driest, the brightest day of this week. Best sunshine in the morning, later on an increase in clouds, some heavier showers clipping the Isle of Man, mild temperatures, the wind starting to get up later in the afternoon. And look what happens during the overnight period. We've got really strong gusts of wind through the Irish Sea, very, very wet with gales across the Isle of Man by Wednesday morning, and certainly more showery on Wednesday, more chance of getting wet than today. Bye-bye.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Good to see the weather getting milder, playing ball, even though it's getting a bit darker.
Yeah.
You're back after news at 10.
Certainly am.
And you can find out the latest on our stories at itv.com/Granada.
Yeah, do stay tuned for that late bulletin. Just time to wish Martin Hibbert from Lancashire good luck. That's our nomination for the Pride of Britain Regional Fundraiser of the Year Award.
Yes, he'll be mingling with the stars at the national ceremony in London tonight and hoping to come home with another award.
Yeah, we'll be keeping our fingers crossed for you, Martin. Very best of luck to you. Bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye.